Hi friends, welcome to a new video. It's the end of the year and I have another sketchbook to share with you. This is the linen cover Cahier by the company The Onion Skin Journal, and it has this really cool semi-transparent paper. If you're curious about it, I have a video where I started the sketchbook and talk a little bit more about it, so you should definitely check that out. Okay, let's start this tour. I started the sketchbook on November 15th, so I really finished it in record time. And that's partially because it's really thin. This sketchbook is only 96 pages, and I only drew on one side, so it's kind of like having 48 pages. But also, I had so much fun playing and experimenting, and just filled it up super quickly. I started this first page with a bunch of swatches of different mediums. I really like this colorful and messy look. You can see how water makes the paper crinkle a little bit, which gives it a really cool texture, and pretty much every medium looks really great on it. These next 3 pages are drawings that I created in that video where I started the sketchbook. I was trying to play with the transparent quality of this paper, so this first drawing is a landscape that I colored in from the back. I was curious to see how it would look from the front, and I put some pencil textures on top to finish it off. I didn't really love the look of this one, so for the next one I tried something different and wanted to play with negative space a little bit. So I drew this girl holding some tulips and left a lot of blank space in her hair and sweater. And then on the next page I put down a bunch of colorful swatches with my Tombow markers. It's less obvious because of the lighting here, but you can see these swatches through the first page, and I think this just gives the drawing a really fun dimension. I also discovered through this drawing that the dip pen and ink combo is such an enjoyable experience on this paper, so I wanted to play some more with it. I ended up doing some calligraphy. I'm not a great cursive writer, but I think that text and typography can also make really interesting patterns and textures. I also really like the layering that's happening here with the next page showing through. For this page, I switched over to a blue ink and a glass dip pen. Flowers are kind of a comfort zone subject for me where I don't really need to sketch it out first, so this was just a lovely, relaxed session drawing some poppies and just listening to the pen scratch on the paper. These are some messy hand studies. Hands are one of those things where if I don't do them for a while, it's like I have to learn all over again how to draw them. So I try to make myself practice them every once in a while at least. So after a bunch of these sketches, I just wrote out a little tip for myself to help myself in the future about giving the fingertips a little bit more volume. And that was just something that I found was helpful in this session where I was trying to get these hands to look right. Okay, starting this page, I entered my full-blown rainbow pencil era. So I actually have a couple rainbow pencils. I started with these two jumbo pencils from Cahier. One of them is neon themed, which is really fun to play with, but it's a little light for any kind of detail. And the other one, the kind of classic original rainbow pencil, the lead is actually just a marble of 3 different colors. Sometimes when the colors mix, it creates this kind of dark and muddy look that I didn't really like. So actually, right now, my favorite rainbow pencil is the one that I randomly picked up from the MoMA design store. So unlike those other two, this pencil has lead that are striped with 7 different colors, and I find that the effect is just a lot more colorful and vibrant without those like muddy mixes. And this lead is actually really soft and smooth to work with as well, so this is my absolute go-to at the moment. The next few pages are just a bunch of different sketches of bodies and poses. This is something that I practice and draw very often and is kind of a theme in my art. I really like to play with different movements and stylizations of the body, and I found that using a rainbow pencil instead of a normal pencil or even a regular colored pencil made this so much more fun and enjoyable. particularly in cases where I'm drawing the same pose over a couple times to figure out different ways I want to stylize them. The varying colors just made me very happy. I really like the variations that I got on this page. The one on the left is kind of smooth and curved and similar to how I usually like to draw bodies, but this one on the right is such a happy surprise. It has this kind of angular, squarish look, but still has rounded corners to make it feel kind of soft. And I really, really liked this particular style experiment. I actually tried really hard to replicate it in the next few pages, but I don't think any of them turned out quite like this one. I also really liked a lot of these mini sketches across these pages. I think they just look so cute, especially combined with the rainbow pencil look. So that's another style that I tried to push a little bit further on this page. I named this page Noodle People because all of these characters have limbs that are kind of noodly and don't taper. I really like this page. And this is the last page where I wrapped up my rainbow pose drawing session. Again, I think a lot of the mini poses turned out better than the main pose on the page, but that's how it is with experimenting in sketchbooks. Here I took a break from the rainbow pencils to play with my Tombow markers, and I drew these silly dogs in clown costumes. It was really fun and freeing to just kind of paint with the markers without sketching anything first, and I just really like their silly expressions. Some more dog sketches. I like this. I'm not sure what dog it is, but a mini dog wearing a pink sweater and looking kind of grumpy. And along with, I think this is a beagle with funny eyebrows. Back on that rainbow pencil mini pose train, I called this page Radish People because these characters don't have a lot of details in their hands and feet and kind of have this tapered limb shape that looks like daikon radishes. So this is just another really fun page. And then the next one, I also used the rainbow pencils to kind of fill in some spaces around the poses to define them a little more. And it's actually a really cool look when you try to fill in a space with the rainbow pencil because it will just kind of change color with each area. Continuing with playing with shapes and stylization, I drew some cats with a dip pen and I was trying to push for an kind of angular slash rectangular shape language. I painted this page with some watercolors before I started sketching. It's just a really fun way to play with some color palettes and add a little bit of interest to sketch on top of. I really love this sketch. The poodle is a little weird looking, but I really liked the older woman and her outfit. I almost never draw older people, but recently I've had a phase and they're actually so interesting and so fun to draw. And I love this woman with her trench coat and her grocery bag. Continuing off of that theme, so two more older ladies with their kittens. Again, just super cute and super wholesome. I cycle through a lot of different materials for this sketchbook, so these are some water-soluble graphite pencils. I normally don't really like working with pencils, but I was really inspired when I came across this sketch by Tom Cahier. I really liked the fluidity and movement in the sketch, and I wanted to try to see if I could create something kind of similar. So these are some tree sketches where I was trying to pay attention to the shapes in the forms and the lines. Not a big fan of this last one. I kind of went overboard with blending out all those dark lead colors, but still a really fun experiment. These are some color pencil character sketches. I really like to play with different color combos when I do these, and this one is kind of unique. It's orange and green, which is a combo that I really don't often try, but I like the look of this page. This page was a style study of the artist Tosto Tang. She tends to be a bit more active on Chinese social media, but she has such a cool and amazing art style that's very inspired by traditional Chinese ink paintings. I particularly really like the sense of fluidity in her brush lines, so I pulled out a brush pen and tried to do a style study. The pose here is based on a vintage photo of Ruth St. Denis, who I believe was a famous dancer. So, yeah, I thought it'd be kind of fun to combine a style study with a pose study. Some character portraits with Tombow markers. I took a bit of a break between that last drawing and this one, so you can tell from these that I was feeling kind of stiff. But I really like the color combo in this bottom portrait here. I think that's really fun. So, to help me get back into the rhythm of drawing and loosen up and being less stiff in general, I did another Scribble Brigade hosted by Sophie McPike on YouTube. This is actually one of the older ones, so I actually just went back to the recording. The theme was Ghibli movie stills, and we did 5-minute sketches of each still. It's a really nice way to be relaxed and loosen up, and I find these so helpful, especially when I'm feeling kind of stiff or have taken a long break. This has been my number one tool to get back into the rhythm of drawing. Ghibli movies has such a big influence on the colors that I'm drawn to and the colors palettes that I like to work with. So doing some studies was just a really fun way to get back in touch with the things that I want to create. Some colorful fish drawings with my Tombow markers. Here I was also playing with different line art materials. So this top one is done with a brush pen, and this one in the middle is, I believe, High-Tech C. So a gel pen. I think the winner here is still my longtime favorite, the black colored pencil. It's just something that I'm really comfortable working with, and I like the effects that I get with them. Although these last two with the bullet tip of the Tombow markers are also really fun, and I think I want to do that some more as well. I wanted to do some more animation studies after that Ghibli Scribble Brigade, so I did a couple movie scenes from Bambi. I kind of struggled with this one because my bottle of black ink is so old that it's a little bit gloopy, and I smudged it so badly on this top drawing. But this bottom one turned out okay, and I like the shapes in the foliage and the layering that's happening here, so I like this one. It's at this point that I realized that I haven't done a Neocolor 2 drawing in this entire sketchbook, and we can't have that. So I just did a colorful landscape with them. And again, I was trying to capture a sense of movement with the flowing lines. The texture of the Neocolor 2s are just really lovely on this paper. I found some really old, colorful fine liners in the back of my drawer, so I wanted to test them out a little bit. So here are two landscape studies where I was also playing with some of the stylizations. These fine liners were really on their last leg. You can kind of tell in the bottom that the purple one's starting to fade, and the only reason that the blue was there was because that one fully died before I finished the drawing. So I continued by switching to the blue color, but even that one was kind of fully done by the end. But hey, at least I finished. Another relaxing flower drawing. I was trying to do some layering with the Tombow markers, and I think the translucent quality of this paper kind of added to this drawing. This was another Scribble Brigade. The theme of this one was master studies, so we did a bunch of kind of classic portrait paintings. These first 2 pages were 5 minutes, and then we moved on to 10-minute ones. I switched from color pencils to Neocolor 2 pastels in these last 2 pages because I wanted to really lean into the messiness and looseness of timed sketches. I think my favorite in this batch of Scribble Brigade sketches is this one, which was a really complicated painting featuring a lot of these swan women. I was pretty ambitious and tried to sketch out every single one of them within 10 minutes. So it's less detailed and has a lot of blank negative space, but I really like looking at the composition and texture of this page and just how loose everything feels. And here's the last one of the session, a kind of close-up portrait. And here we are on the last page. These were some landscape studies with Tombow markers. I was trying to push the layering and the different colors that I get from layering the markers on top of each other. I especially like the colors in this top one here. It's such a cool effect, and it's definitely something that I want to try more. And that's the end of this sketchbook tour. Thank you for making it to the end. I really enjoyed working in this sketchbook, and I hope you enjoyed watching this tour. Please like and subscribe if you did. This is the last video of the year, and I have a lot of fun things planned for 2025, so stay tuned for that, and I'll see you next time. Bye!